Welcome back to the Stadium of Light, where we're delighted to tell you that it's finished. Sunderland 3, Wycombe Wanderers 1. A great game here, Rob, at the Stadium of Light this afternoon. Very enjoyable.
Absolutely, and I think what really summed it up was the reaction from the crowd at the final whistle. It's a long, long time since I've been at the Stadium of Light and heard such an ovation as that. The chants of Lee Johnson's Red and White Army, the standing ovation, the volume of the noise on the final whistle tells you that the feel-good factor is back at Sunderland, I think, better than any time since the last couple of home games under Sam Allardyce. When we had that brilliant 3-2 win over Chelsea, that 3-0 win over Everton that guaranteed Sunderland's survival in the Premier League, and everybody was really up for it. In terms of the feeling around the club at the moment, after the performance this season, the quality of football, the goals that we've scored this afternoon, the way the team are playing for each other, the calibre of players who can't get into the team, the fans know that under the new ownership and with the manager now, or the head coach, having his first full season at the club, things are happening. They're going in the right direction at Sunderland. And the only question is now, how long can it continue?
Well, momentum is very important in football, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's and confidence as well. Confidence is something that is the thing that you just never can buy. You can't quite bottle. When you've got it, you've got to protect it for as long as you can and keep it going for as long as you can. And you know, what a tremendous afternoon's football at the Stadium of Light.
And we can talk about that action right now, Rob, because we can speak over the highlights from today's game. Here they are on the screen. So, of course, in the first half, Wycombe really came out firing, didn't they? Yeah,
those first 10, 13 minutes, I mean, Sunderland went ahead on 14 against the run of play, but the first few minutes, Wycombe were asking all of the questions. They never had a really clear-cut chance, but they were the people piling the ball into the box. They had several balls come in from Kai on the right wing, which Sunderland managed to clear, but you always felt...
Yeah, those balls there was quite a lot of them going in.
You always felt at some point there might be a blue shirt gets on the end of them first and it might cause us a problem. And as we said at the start of the game, if Wycombe get themselves into the front, into the lead, they're very, very difficult to get back against.
Yeah, circling down the left-hand side, they're coming close, and of course this is the first goal. It's Ross Stewart involved in the first goal.
Yeah, that circling cross was the first time Sunderland had really looked to possibly threaten, and just a moment or two later, we see this where there's some terrific play. Elliot Embleton picks up the ball here, takes his time, gets his head up.
That's such a good cross.
Scoops that ball up. And what a well-timed jump.
It's not just the jump, it's his position in between the two centre-backs as well.
He finds the space, he splits them, he gets away from Grimmer, the number 2 there. The goalkeeper hasn't got a chance. It's such a well-placed header.
And almost 2 minutes later, this happens.
Yeah, lovely little 1-2 with Elliot Embleton and Gooch. And then that's a picture goal there. The photographers will all have that on their highlights reel if they've got a good shot of that, as he curls that in the top corner.
Yeah, good afternoon for Embleton, and he got a good ovation when he came off as well,
well
didn't
deserved. He? Well deserved, you know, really, really good assist and a really classic goal there.
McGeady arguably having his best game of the season so far, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, he's still got a long way to go to get up to his best speed, but we saw lots of signs there. Aidan McGeady's getting to the calibre that we know he is.
This is an odd incident.
He is.
Top right-hand side of your screen now.
Yeah.
An uppercut.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thankfully we didn't have to rely on the officials to get a decision this afternoon in terms of a victory, because there's little moments like that happened quite a lot during the second half.
That's not a little moment, that's a big moment. That's an outrageous piece of play, and he was very, very lucky that wasn't spotted, because Wycombe would have undoubtedly been down to 10 men and deservedly forfeit.
Winchester there fancying his look from outside the area once again.
His left foot,
and another good game at right back.
Solid, really solid, very, very good, well assured game.
An opportunity here for Wycombe.
It's just one of many examples of Tafazoli getting on the edge of a set piece.
He was the player perhaps for them who had the better game.
For me, he was Wycombe's man of the match. I thought he was excellent both defensively and offensively.
As we continue to watch these highlights as well, Rob, was a stand-up man completely for Sunderland this afternoon?
Do you know, I don't...
It's a hard one, isn't it?
I wouldn't pick anybody, because as a team performance, it was so good. You could throw 7 or 8 names at it as the man of the match there. And if anybody wanted to say to me, well, Elliot Embleton was the man of the match, or Ross Stewart, who scored twice, or Tom Flanagan, who was so strong at centre-half or whatever, you know, I wouldn't pick an argument with them. Lots and lots of players from Sunderland with really good performances.
Dan Neil as well, who played.
Yeah, that's not Dan Neil's best moment of the game, where he loses his footing on that shot. But overall, Dan Neil was excellent again, and his assist for the third goal was just really terrific.
Flanagan a bit unlucky to get I think he got a card for that as well, didn't he?
He was very no, he got a card later for a tackle where he wiped somebody out deservedly.
Yes, he did.
But he was a bit unlucky to concede that particular free kick. That was possibly their best chance, the one that's played back there for Kai, but he sort of scoops it horribly wide.
Dennis Serkin involved as well. A good minute under his belt this afternoon as well.
Again, young player, gaining experience, did well there. Shot was off target.
An opportunity almost came to Lyndon Gooch as well.
Just got in each other's way there a little bit as they tried to work the way out.
And Ade Akinfenwa was introduced in the second half, and he came close with this one.
Oh, he was tremendous once he came on, and that was superb play from him. I mean, it was a comfortable take for Anthony Patterson.
And Ross Stewart managed to get his second goal of the afternoon with another great move. Dan Neil involved again. Yeah,
Dan Neil picks it up really well there, bursts forward, gets his head up, he knows he's got options right and left, he waits for just the right moment and then plays a wonderfully weighted ball for Ross Stewart.
And that's a good finish, that, isn't it? It's not easy.
Terrific, and on his left foot as well, and hits it into the roof of the net. Confident striker, deserves to be confident the way he's playing, and his fourth goal of the season.
Should this have been a penalty? Could he have had a hat-trick?
For me, that was a definite penalty. And
another talking point, so many in the game.
And also, you know, the referee doesn't go for it at all, but for me, definite penalty. Good job, that was a decision at 3-0. If he hadn't given that, it would have been 0-0.
And this effort from distance from Wheeler takes a nasty deflection on the way in.
Yeah.
It's unlucky that, because it would have been a great clean sheet as well for Sunderland this afternoon.
It would have been a deserved clean sheet for the defence. It would have been a deserved clean sheet for Anthony Patterson. It was unlucky that he took such a deflection. But let's not forget, in the last home game, while we deserved it, we benefited from a deflected goal. And if we're going to get a deflected goal against us, let's make it in the last minute when we're already 3-0 up, despite the disappointment of losing the clean sheet. It didn't cost us any points.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. I think we can do some of your hashtags right now, if I'm right in saying. Maybe someone will help me out. Yeah, yes, here we go. So this is hashtag Ask Danny with Rob Mason this afternoon. And the first one says, congrats to Danny and family. Rob, can you think of any period in the last 4 seasons when we've looked this promising?
Well, first of all, let's add to those congratulations to Dan and his family. Really tremendous news on that. And it'll be great that the little lad's first day has coincided with the Sunderland winning a great Sunderland performance. But yes, in answer to the question, as I've just been indicating, you know, I can't remember a time when the feel-good factor around the club, looking at the ovation and the volume of the ovation.
So loud at the end.
So I took my headphones off
when
we were just off air, and it was really, really loud. And this was some considerable time after the final whistle, while the players were coming off the pitch and applauding the fans. The fans were absolutely ecstatic, not just with today, but the fact today adds to the momentum that we've been building since the start of the season, and indeed pre-season when we were unbeaten. We shouldn't get carried away. You know, leagues and promotions are not won in August. There's an awful long way to go. But at the start of the season, if you'd said we'd have won this many games, only lost one, never forgetting that one game we lost at Burton, we'd played really, really well, and we're desperately unlucky to lose. You know, I think everybody would have bitten your hands off for that. So in answer to the question, this, for me, is the best period at the club since, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, since Sam Allardyce's last 2 home games in charge of Sunderland.
Thanks, Rob. Let's move on to the next one, please. This one is from Neil, who says, do you think a retrospective red card will be issued for the punch on 09? I'm not sure about the legalities of that, because I think if it hasn't been pointed out by any of the officials on the day, there's not much they can do, is there?
I'm not sure. At half-time, I quickly nipped down for a cup of tea in the press room, and I spoke to 1 or 2 people in the press room who were making this very point. But I'm not sure, and I'll have to check whether you can get retrospective red cards in League One. And obviously, you can in the Premier League. We're used to seeing that in the Premier League. It may well be that you can, but I wouldn't like to say so. I'm not sure. Certainly, if you are able to get a retrospective red card in League One, then I wouldn't see how that was not a retrospective red card and a 3-match ban. Yeah,
we have seen bans in the past because of scuffles on and off the pitch as well. Most famously, the one at Oxford as well, wasn't it, last season? So we know there is, if they need to flex their muscles, the EFL, they can't they?
Yeah, well, I would hope so. It would be deservedly so. From what we've seen, and we've seen a replay 3 or 4 times. Admittedly, I've not seen a really close-up replay, but you know,
Anthony Joshua would have been proud of that.
My eyes, I don't think my eyes deceive me, as you say. Anthony Joshua would have been proud of it. And Luke O'Nien being
he got some stick this afternoon of his old teammates.
He got wiped out more than once. But that punch was just outrageous. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a punch like that on a football field.
Yeah.
I thought those things had long since gone in the football field by and large. But it was, I don't blame the referee at all. The referee can't have his eyes in the back of his head.
No.
But the linesman on the far side,
well,
given that everybody in the east stand went up as one because they'd seen it, how he didn't see it.
And had this been in the Premier League, VAR would have certainly picked something like that up, you would have thought.
They would have done, but don't get me started on VAR.
Okay,
let's
then
just say I'm not a fan.
We won't. We'll move on. Good job we're in League One. Move on to the next one, please. This one is from Ian, a man you know very well, for the After Game show, Rob. Is Dan Neil finally the answer to the hole left by Don Hutchison?
Well, as that question's from my son, who's currently in Malaga, I can't possibly
and
disagree.
I can guarantee you as well that the guys in the production team did not know that.
No, they wouldn't know that. No, in answer to Ian's question, yes, he is. I mean, he looks like absolute class act. He's played every game so far this season. I think last season a lot of people were wanting him to play and he didn't get much of an opportunity, little bits and pieces here and there, particularly in the more minor competitions. And obviously the head coach was coaxing him through, bringing him on. You know, he's a few months older now. He's still a teenager, but he looks such an assured.
I'm scared to talk him up because he's that
You know,
good.
we've got Callum Doyle on loan from Manchester City. Everybody says, what a good player. If Dan Neil was on loan from Manchester City, you would say, yeah, he's got Manchester City style quality.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about too much.
Oh, he's rubbish. He's rubbish. Nobody else wants.
He's the best kept secret in League One at the moment.
He's absolutely rubbish. I don't rate him. I think he should be dropped immediately.
Okay, then next one, please. This is the last one from Joe, who says, big win today. Has today shown we have the right mix for at least a consistent challenge for the top two this season? Also, are there any parts you think we need to work on in the extended break? Of course, we've been forced into an extended break with a couple of postponed games coming up. Our next game won't be until September the 11th as well, when we take on Accrington Stanley back here at the Stadium of Light. Do you want to tackle those questions then, Rob?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, in answer, what do we need to work on? I think at the moment a little bit of communication in defence. That's not surprising when we've got some young players involved. You know, both the goalkeeper and some of the defenders. There was 2 or 3 examples today, a couple early on in the first 10 minutes and one quite late on, where there was a bit of hesitancy as to whether the goalkeeper was coming or whether the goalkeeper was wanting the defenders to clear it. And there needs to be more talk in there. Flanagan does a good job on that. Bailey Wright, when he's on the pitch, does a good job on that. There were some occasions when quite clearly Anthony Patterson screamed keeper and had come and got the ball and commanded. But it was 2 or 3 occasions where I don't know who was shouting or who was not shouting, but there looked like a little bit of a lack of communication there from what I saw. It didn't cost us at all, but it could. So I think that's something we need to work on. But generally, if it's working, don't fix it. And it's working at the moment, so at the moment I wouldn't be too inclined to tinker too much. There's always things you can try and tighten up on. And also another thing is, we've got so many players now who are doing well that we need one of Lee Johnson's hardest jobs will be keeping everybody happy, because you've got Aidan O'Brien who scores a hat-trick the other night and just gets 7 or 8 minutes a day. You've got a young lad like Alves on loan from West Ham who can't get in the team yet, but his time will come. Obviously he played the other night in the Carabao Cup. But this is a nice problem to have. A nice problem to have when you're thinking, you know, when the Accrington game comes round, in your head you're thinking, who will we pick this week if everybody's fit and haven't got injured on international duty and so on. It's a difficult thing to do because there's lots of people pushing for a place in the first team.
And that's what the manager wants, as you said in
commentary. Great problem for Lee Johnson
headache to have.
Absolutely.
Okay, then that's it for hashtag Ask Danny. I wonder if we can look at the other scores now from in and around EFL League One. I'll read these out for you and then we can discuss them if we leave them on screen. But it finished Rotherham 2, Doncaster 0, Cambridge United 1, Bolton 0, Charlton 2, Crewe 0, Ipswich 2, FC Wimbledon 2, MK Dons 2, Accrington 0, Morecambe 1, Sheffield Wednesday defeated for the first time by Morecambe 1-0, and Oxford United 3, Lincoln 1, Plymouth 1, Fleetwood 1, Shrewsbury 2, Gillingham 1 in a game where I understand there's been a lot of red cards, and Wigan 1-0 away. At home to Portsmouth. So that's the latest score. Some big results there. If we can just leave it on the screen, Rob. Sheffield Wednesday getting beat for the first time.
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday getting beat.
Portsmouth still struggling
Portsmouth
as well.
Getting beat. Ipswich. We talked earlier when we were looking at the pre-game show about how well Wimbledon had played here. just last Saturday, and we said, you know what, Wimbledon made a few friends, we were quite impressed with them, and we thought when they play against some of the big teams, you think they might take points off. Well, they have done today. I know Ipswich have not had a great start, in fact they've had a terrible start, but over the course of a 46-game season, once those new players gel under such an excellent manager in Paul Cook, I think Ipswich will still be there or thereabouts at the end of the season.
Let's see what that does to the league table. Obviously, very early days. Let's have a look at this. Sunderland are top of League One, I think, for the first time.
Yeah, first time since relegation, and not only that, 2 points clear of the pack.
It's good reading. I know it's early days, but psychologically, these fans have been down here for their 4th season now. Never been top of the league. I think maybe it was an hour or something, and maybe a couple of seasons ago we were top. But now they are going home this evening. They may be going to the pub on the way, and they're going to be looking at their phones and looking at that league table and seeing, finally, this massive club top of EFL League One.
Well, absolutely, and of course, were it not for the international break causing the postponement, next Saturday would have been top of the league Sunderland away to second in the league Sheffield Wednesday. That's a big game when it eventually does come around with a big club. I mean, I was a student in Sheffield. I know how big a club Sheffield Wednesday are, and that will be a really tasty game when it comes around.
Well, thanks for that, Rob. I think we are pretty much done here on SAFC Live. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Rob, have you enjoyed your debut on SAFC Live? Well, it's not actually a debut because you have been a guest before.
I've been a guest before, that's right. Can I just say I'll hand over back to the wonderful Danny Collins, big friend of mine, somebody I've got a great respect for, thinks does a great job with you, but I'd like to tell Danny I've got a 100% record.
Yes, you have. Before you go, though, Rob, you've got a couple of books coming out soon, haven't you? Would you mind mentioning them?
I have indeed. One includes Danny Collins. I've done a book called Promotion Winning Black Cats. It's due out next week. It involves an interview with one player from every one of Sunderland's 9 promotion-winning teams, and I'm hoping that book is timed to come out with a promotion season that we fingers crossed would have this season. And then due out on the 10th of September, a book done with a good friend of mine called Andrew Smithson. I've done a book on all of the kits Sunderland have worn, particularly in the Stadium of Light era, and that book is called Kit Cats.
I like the name.
And will feature, all of Sunderland's kits, home kits, away kits, goalkeepers' kits, rare kits,
third kits,
even the days when we've worn other teams' kits, including the day we wore black and white stripes borrowed from Newcastle United in an FA Cup tie against Southampton in 1950.
And if you like that kind of thing, go and get that book. As Rob said, all the details, I'm sure, will be released all in good time as well. Rob, thanks for your company.
Cheers, thanks a lot, Frankie.
Okay, then, we are next on air on Saturday, the 11th of September. Home game here in the EFL League One against Accrington Stanley. A couple of games postponed, so if you aren't aware of that, don't make any plans to make those travels. Remember, everything will be on safc.com. Comprehensive interviews as well, post-game interviews with the manager and the player as well will be appearing very soon on the official channels. Very soon here on safc.com and, of course, on the social media channels as well. But from us here at the Stadium of Light, it's a victorious afternoon. I hope you enjoy your weekends. Thanks for watching.